Welcome to Gracefully Greying live stream. Gracefully Greying is a startup to connect you to resources and information about growing older and for assisting your loved ones. We provide articles, interviews, checklists, and other tips to create a productive and vibrant life. We also have many resources for people moving into later life stages and how they can be helped by those around them. You can find us on gracefullygraying.com and social media platforms. So now enjoy the live stream Gracefully Graying show. Welcome to Gracefully Graying Tuesday live stream. Hello, everybody. Today we welcome Sheryl Alpern of Official Driving School. So welcome, Sheryl. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, so we are going to be talking about a really important topic that I just feel like no matter what your age, what your position, your situation, everybody's kind of affected. A lot of people are affected by driving. So the topic today is going to be tips for seniors to be safe while driving. So you are the expert, and we're really glad to have you on today's show.
Thank you.
So let's start. How did you become interested in being a driver's ed teacher? Well, let's back up. Is that what you call it, driver's ed teacher? I mean, it was that way when I was taking driver's ed.
Instructor, teacher, yeah.
Has that changed?
You can use instructor or teacher. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you get into this?
Well, my dad had a school called Lee Driving School. And when I moved back to Detroit, I was working for part-time. And as years went on, I started running it. I've been doing it now going on 19 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've been doing it for a while, definitely. So, all right, your dad had a driving school, and I know that you ran that business for a long time.
Yeah.
Now you are with another company, Official Driving School, which is a
Absolutely.
big company in Metro Detroit. So, I know you do a lot of work with teenagers. Obviously, teens that are getting their license, they have to go through a long training these days, actually longer than when I was driving a long time, taking driver's ed. But today we're talking about seniors and the difference when you're teaching somebody to drive or doing a refresher course. So explain the refresher course for seniors and why this is so important.
The refresher course, I only deal with behind the wheel. So if someone says, can you check my parents' driving? I run them through a subdivision, a little bit of parking. If they want to go on the freeway, I like to give it a basic. After I evaluate the first lesson, I will tell them if they need any more lessons or not. And there's another part of this. Sometimes when the license is taken away, they can only drive with a driver's ed instructor and nobody else. And I've done that as
well. Tell us some reasons why a license would be taken away.
A senior citizen makes a mistake. They ran a stop sign. They left turn in the wrong lane. Anything that can cause them to get a ticket, they'll probably get it.
Yeah. So, I would assume that, if that happens to a senior, seniors probably start to panic and, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Explain that process. I mean, pardon me?
Yeah, they could be in their 70s and this could be their first ticket.
Right. How traumatic, right?
Yeah, not good.
So explain the process. When a senior gets a ticket, what happens?
All right. This is what my experience is. They get a ticket and then the Secretary of State's going to take their license away for a period of time. Then they're going to get a piece of paper saying that they have to drive X amount of hours with an approved driver's ed instructor. Last one I did, they had to do, I think, almost 15 hours, 16 hours. And after that, they go back and take their road test again. And I try to do, on that one, we have to do the freeway, we do the parking, residential, I do it all. The last one I drove her all, I don't know if she passed the road test or not, but she could drive. She could definitely drive.
Okay. So back up a little bit. You said when they get a ticket, then the Secretary of State takes their driver's license away for how long?
It depends. It depends what the infraction is. I don't know. Most of the people that I've taught, we're talking 70s and 80s, You know, it just depends because then I have to go through this other system. So let's say I get that ticket, and then the Secretary of State's make me go to this rehab place, and it's very, very expensive. Then they do all
Wait,
these cognitive things.
explain the rehab place. What is
They
that?
do a lot of cognitive tests to see how your brain functions,
Okay.
which you have to pay for. And then after that, they're going to get a temporary license from recommendation of the doctor. They get a temporary license that drives with an instructor only, someone like myself.
Okay. So this place where they're going to be tested, cognitive testing, is that at the Secretary of State or because
No, it's
I don't know about fill
typically
us
it
in.
would be at a hospital or a specific type of doctor and things like that.
Okay, so a senior would walk in with paperwork saying, I've gotten a ticket and I need to be evaluated.
No, they're gonna get information from the Secretary of State stating that in order to get your license back, you're gonna have to do these steps. It would be like a rehab type of situation, and then it would be behind the wheel.
Okay, with somebody at the Secretary of State.
Mhm.
Okay. What are the
Wait,
most
wait, no, no. The driving with this, no, I teach them and
Yeah,
behind the
okay.
wheel. So what
Got it.
happens is the license taken away, that goes to Lansing.
Yeah.
Lansing's gonna write them a letter,
If
and
you live
then
in
they have to go to
Michigan.
the hospital or some type of facility to do the cognitive part. If they pass that, then they can come to someone like myself.
Okay. What do you know what some of the most common reasons for a senior getting a ticket
Oh,
are?
I had a lady who was speeding a lot. I
Speeding?
Yeah, speeding big
Mhm.
time. And I had a lady, this was sort of sad. She was in an area she didn't know, and
Mm.
she made a left turn. It was like one of those dividing roads, and instead of going all the way, she sort of made it into oncoming traffic.
Okay.
Trying to think what I want to have. Um, Running a red light, running a light, things like that. They're the
Yeah.
most common ones.
Okay.
And also driving too slow.
Right. People usually think, oh, too fast is the reason, why maybe most people get tickets, but the opposite holds true. If you're going too slow, that's very hazardous, especially on the freeway.
I gotta tell you something. This is really it. I mean, I've seen seniors on their cell phones driving, and I'm thinking to myself, really?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
really need to have brain power for the driving, not for the talking.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Okay. Um, what should seniors, in your opinion, do you think that, when you're retraining a senior after they've gotten a ticket, I mean, are they defensive? Like, oh, I don't know why I
Yeah.
got this, or do they
Yeah,
realize?
that the most common thing I heard. I've only had one ticket in my life, and that's the one I got.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're
So,
upset because, in some instances, like the last one I did, her husband didn't drive, and she couldn't drive, and so getting around was really difficult, really difficult.
mhm, mhm. Do you find that it's more men or women who lose their licenses first,
I've
or
had only most of them that I've taught. And you remember, I don't. In my world, I've only had mostly women.
mostly
Very
women?
few
Okay.
men. Yeah. I
Yeah.
had a guy one time. He ran a stop in his neighborhood. So I go to his neighborhood, and he goes to run the stop sign. I hit the brake. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "There's nobody coming." I go, "It's a stop sign. You don't care if no one's coming. You have to stop." He was going to run it again.
And how long do people have to stop for? This is general
You
information.
stop, 1, 2, 3. And you know what? Officers are going to look at your wheels, folks, and they'll count them. So you've got to make sure that they can complete stop. You have to stop before the stop sign. You don't stop after the stop sign. That's a ticket.
Stopping after the stop sign is
Now,
a
a lot of
ticket.
people will stop where they can see, not where the stop sign is.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's out of people's control. If there's like a bush or a tree in the way, you kind of
Yeah, but the
have to
stop sign's
stop.
here for a reason. You stop and then you move up. It's not the
Mhm.
stop sign's not like a caution sign. It's a regulatory sign.
Right.
It's the
It's
law.
stop.
So then you stop and move up.
Stop. Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. What should seniors look out for in terms of their response time? And I know that's like, people could be in denial, like, oh, I'm just fine. My response time is really quick, when in fact, maybe it's not.
Choosing the time you drive is really important. If I was somebody who I thought, my driving's whatever. I'm going to drive when it's like less traffic,
Mhm.
but they not go as far. I had one lady get a temporary license for just 15 miles from her home. She could go to the grocery store and visit her daughter. Um, so, if you don't think you can drive, don't do it. But you've got to be honest with yourself. Say, maybe I shouldn't do this,
Right.
and put the right kind of friends in your car. The
Mhm.
distractions and all this. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
it's not good.
Mhm. But it's a pretty common thing for seniors not even to realize that they're not good drivers, correct?
A lot of people think they're really good drivers. They're not. But as we get older, that car is a lifeline,
Right.
and
So
that's where the pressure, the anxiety, and all that comes in because they may not realize what's going to happen until it's too late. So driving, you can drive. If it's snowing out, you don't like it, then don't go.
mhm.
Know when you
Mhm.
can drive. And be honest with yourself. No, I tell the teenagers the same thing. If you're not in the mood or you're tired or whatever, don't do it. You're gonna make mistakes.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that's just like a block because I just there are probably many seniors who have kind of a false idea of their driving
I've been driving for
capabilities.
50 years. I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
I don't care.
You know
As we get older, our brain changes.
right,
You have to adapt that to your driving.
right, and the physicality of it. I mean, if somebody has had knee surgery and they've just come out of rehab and they're not maybe so quick, not even great walking, how does that affect their driving?
In Farmington Hills, there's a bus line that will take you. I think it's like $10 anywhere within Farmington Hills. And I know that seniors do like their independence, but there's that, there's Lyft, there's other ways to get around. But I know from speaking to seniors, they don't particularly want to do ride sharing as much.
Mhm.
It's new to them and it's a fear for them. But you've got your community buses that can take you around town. I know it's hard for a senior to realize they can't drive, but there's other options. How you give them their options and explain the options might be better.
Right, right. So whether that's, do you ever explain other options? Say,
Oh,
"Hey,
absolutely,
Mrs."
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last woman I drove,
Mhm.
I said to her, "You've got other options just in case, because you already failed the road test once,
Mhm.
and the pressure was on." Um, I'm not sure how well she took it, but I told her, if you don't pass, you got the community buses
Right.
in it, you've got Lyft. Um,
Mhm.
now COVID is over, her son in Ann Arbor could probably take her and things like that.
Is there a limit as to how many times seniors can take a road test? Like, is it straight
I
through,
don't know.
you're out?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that answer. I just know that she failed it once and she can still take it again.
Right,
But
okay.
then if you fail it again, you have to go through, I think, the whole cognitive thing again, I think. I'm not sure.
You have to go through the what?
You may have to go through the cognitive testing again. I'm not sure. But I know
Okay.
that she did. She
Right,
did it twice.
right, right. Also there's the issue of, if a senior needs to stop driving and somebody suggests a rideshare program, they either have to have the app, they have to have a phone or a way of hailing a rideshare program. They have
That's
to
why
know
you're
the time.
that's why the community buses are
Right.
so helpful. I mean, they'll take you within that city limit for a very small fee.
Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, but there is that roadblock, no pun intended, that,
Mhm.
it does sometimes take technology to get a rideshare,
Yeah.
ride, which seniors a lot of times don't know how to do. So that's
And
another problem.
once their license is taken away, their
Mhm.
confidence, all this stuff that they've had before, it goes out the window.
Yeah,
And they're in shock.
yeah.
And then there's a desperate need to get around. So this whole thing is extremely difficult. So again, I always say, if you don't think you can drive, don't do it. Know what you can do so that you don't get that ticket.
Right, right. And then, depending on where you live in the country, there are also weather concerns.
Yeah, I mean, I know this could be expensive, but there's Grubhub, whatever these things are, that you can bring food in. I don't know the names. I'm sorry, I may have got that one wrong, but seniors are reluctant to do that. The best thing I can think of is you have a resource, kids, grandkids, good friends that
Mhm.
can take you around. They're going to do it.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so say you are a kid, and when I say kid, I'm probably not talking about a 20-year-old, but say you're a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, and you have a senior parent in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and you're concerned about their driving skills. What's the first thing that you should do?
Call someone like myself. I'll do evaluations. Usually,
Mhm.
the first lesson, it's just basically subdivision, main roads, easy rights, easy lefts. I try to take them in the morning around 10 o'clock because it feels to me that's the best time to go if you're nervous.
Yeah.
And then, I'll be honest with them. If you're gonna pay me to drive you, I will be honest. I might say, you know, you need a lot of work on this, or you're doing really well.
Yeah. And if they need a lot of work, that just extends your experience with them? They just need more time with you, or how does that work?
They need like if this is an evaluation, so license isn't taken away. Sometimes it's better to have someone like myself, not a family member, because we don't have that,
Right.
tied in like buttons to push. But I need to communicate with the people who want to be evaluated. I'll have to tell them, yes, no, give me more lessons, or she's fine. Leave
Yeah.
her alone.
And so sometimes they need more lessons than they initially think that they do, right?
Yeah. And sometimes I think their kids want them off the road, even though they may not need to be off the road. So that's why they do it because they're like, oh my God, she's blah, 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 or he's this. So I
Uh-huh.
get that as well. And then sometimes, you know, they're doing fine. I'm talking about basics. I'm not talking about, doing a U-turn or, you know,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
roundabouts and things like that. I'm talking about just the basics, residential, main
Right.
road, parking, freeway if I can.
Right.
Most seniors, and evaluations, most seniors tell me I won't go on the freeway, so I don't take them.
Uh-huh.
That's actually really a big one.
Or I'll never make a left turn, only rights?
No, no, I do right and left. I'm saying that if I say to them, it's just an evaluation, would you like to go on the freeway? A lot of my seniors will say no,
No.
they don't like it.
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
And sometimes the kids, air quotes, really don't want their parents to they want them to flunk. They want them to flunk.
Yeah, that's not fair because just you're seeing it through that's your mom and that's your dad. You
Mhm.
have like a filter on that. So you
Mhm.
do want someone like myself. Now I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie. If she's doing good, I'm gonna tell you. She
Yeah.
or he or she needs help, I will tell you. But
Right.
sometimes kids just want to take my mom's license, okay, take my dad's license.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I don't.
You must hear all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite one was the stop sign guy, of course, who ran the stop sign, got a ticket, why don't you run it again? Um, but most of the seniors I have come from places that say after the rehab, they have to drive X amount of hours only with. And then you have to write the state each time you drove them, what they did. I mean, there's paperwork involved as well. You're like, so you got to give the state the information that on the driver, which I do.
Yeah. Oh,
You
that is
take
a
the
lot of
oath.
paperwork. Yeah. And then okay, so you submit that to the state, correct?
Mhm.
And then what?
I give it to them. They submit it to the state. I don't.
Oh, I
I
see.
write the
Okay.
letter, and it's their responsibility to give it to the state.
Right. Okay. And I wonder if they all do that, or do they just kind of they can't renew their license without doing that.
No, I know that some of mine, I definitely got their license back. And one lady, I felt so bad. They failed her for something that's not failable.
What does that mean?
She had extensions on her gas and her brake because she's rather short. And
Short?
so they failed her on that. So she went to her attorney. You can't fail them on that. So she took the road test again. And she did pass. That's the one that got that 15-mile radius one. She
Mhm.
passed.
Mhm. She had extensions because she was short. She needed
Really, early challenge, big time, yeah.
okay, vertically challenged, you said. Okay. So, yeah, she needed to reach
The
the brake
extenders
and the
are
accelerator. Yeah.
extenders are wow. The
Yeah.
person who road tested her wouldn't even take her on the road.
Say that
So
again?
the person who road tested her the first time when she saw the extenders, she wouldn't take her on the road.
Oh, really? Hmm. Mhm. Mhm. All right. What else can you tell us that we haven't necessarily covered?
Well,
Give us some important tips.
I think that, you have to be supportive of the seniors. Just because someone's a certain age doesn't mean they can't drive. I teach teenagers, and trust me, they can pass segment one, but they are not good drivers.
Mhm.
And as we get older, I think we have to understand that some of our people around us, they see a senior citizen and they're like, get around them, cut them off, whatever. But this is a family situation. Everybody has to get together on the same page. It's how you talk to somebody about
Mhm.
this, because if you give them this thing, well, you have to go, or otherwise we're taking away your keys, my driver is not going to be so happy.
Yeah.
Okay. When they come from the rehab, they all want to pass the road test. Those are easy to do. You pass or you don't. But a lot of times, like I said, my last one had to have 12 lessons, or I think it was 12 lessons, 12 or 15. And she's passable, very much so. Her parallel parking was amazing.
Really? Okay.
I
Yeah,
took her
not
the
easy
first
to
time,
do.
like on parallel park, and I'm like, oh my God, you're good at this.
That's nice. Are you ever really nervous in the car?
You know, no. What happens is, in my opinion, they don't make me nervous. It's the cars around me. So the other day, I'm teaching a student driver's ed, and he was doing the speed limit, and somebody passed him illegally, and then went, and it freaks people out. It happens when they see somebody. They assume. My teenagers will always say, if someone's going slow, it's like, oh, probably an old person. My comment is, it's probably on somebody on the cell phone. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't give the senior citizens this thing that, oh, you can't drive because you're a certain age. No.
Mhm.
Some
Mhm.
people can't drive at 75. Some people can still drive at 85. You can't look at somebody and say that. That's
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. There's
You,
a
you driving with other people on the road. Have patience or don't drive. Everybody is allowed on the road. For
Mhm.
seniors, though, a refresher course, I mean, if the parents and the kids get whatever driver must know, go through it a lot. I mean, how many people don't realize a red flashing lights a stop sign? Okay? I don't care if it's oncoming traffic, you have to stop. Certain things that they can do as a family to just refresh the laws would be perfect.
right. And then they have to take the written test too, correct?
Um, yeah, they have to take a written test, but I think that goes in where they do the cognitive part. I don't think that they take the test in the secretaries. Oh, they do actually. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if it's you take it rehab or the secretary of state. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Because that could be a challenge too for a senior or
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
I had
Okay.
everybody I've taught never said that they failed the written test. So.
Nobody ever has?
No, it's
No
just the road
senior or nobody?
seniors. I mean, I haven't
Okay.
had. Yeah, I most
How
almost
about
every
how
senior
about
I've had.
teenagers? Okay. So
Okay, what about teenagers?
okay,
They think they
that's
know it all, and they, things like that. Teenagers, they don't understand that the car is a killing machine, where
mhm,
the adults do.
mhm.
Okay, so it's been my experience. I'd rather have a teenager than an adult, because an adult understands. If I do something bad, it's going to be a bad. Teenagers go, oh, it never happens to me. I'm going to run the red light. So different.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
But they
See
do have a
that.
lot in common. Nobody wants teenagers or seniors on the road, and it's just really too bad.
Yeah. Well, as you said, everybody has a right to drive. So.
Absolutely. But you have to make sure, like, you're close to the speed limit, you're signaling,
Mhm,
um, you're doing everything you can to be a defensive driver.
mhm, mhm. Good advice.
Mhm.
So we have ended our time. You've really
That was,
given us some great information. Tell us how people can get a hold of you, if you would.
they can call official at 248-548-8000.
Mhm.
Tell them you want a refresher senior class, and can they put me in Cheryl's car? And they will.
Good. They
I
can
can
request
I
you.
can do
Nice.
adults in the mornings only. In the summertime, I can't do any of them because the teenagers are just taking up most of my time.
Mhm. Understandable. Okay. Good. And then, if you're not in the Detroit metro area, call wherever you are, call your local driving school and you will
But
get the
let me
same
explain
service.
that.
And
When you're doing that, you want to make sure two things: that the person who's doing it has experience with it,
mhm,
because you've got to make sure you make your driver comfortable. And do they do adults?
right.
Sometimes they'll say an adult and they won't give them oh, we're too busy. Then don't go there.
Right. Right.
Summertime is hard. Summertime, no, you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah. All right. So you've got to be picky when you're looking for a driving
Just
school.
the summertime, because anybody who does driver's ed, the summertime is where the teens are out of school and we're
Sure.
jam-packed.
Okay. Good advice. All right. Well, thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us. This was great. And thank you for taking the time, our viewers, to join us on the Gracefully Graying live stream. And find us on gracefullygraying.com and all of our social media channels. And thank you, Cheryl, again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And goodbye, everyone. See you next time on our Tuesday live stream.